hands. Has anyone heard of regenerative agriculture? Yes, we got 1, 2, 3. Chete, 4. Okay, so we're going to have to give you a little bit of a top up of your education here. This first plot, let me just describe the plots overall. And before I start, so Sandy Roberts is my name once again. I'm with the seed company, and we have the agency for AGT cover crop mixes from South Africa. And so this first plot that you are seeing here is there's a mixed cover crop, and if you have a look, there's 10 different varieties in this. It's a concoction, and the reason why we're bringing it, all the mixtures in together of legumes, brassicas, some cereals, some grasses, is we're trying to improve the biodiversity, because what happens is, for soil health, biodiversity above ground helps biodiversity below the ground. And with regenerative agriculture, it is all about building soil health. And when you can increase your organic matter and build soil health and working with nature, what it means is that you can reduce your costs on fertilizers, on pesticides, and ultimately with irrigation as well. If you're irrigating, it will help you if you've got more carbon in the soil. So let me just give you a quick overview. So we have 4 plots. This is part of C block, and we are rotating with different crops. We've got maize that is in the ground at the moment. We will be planting wheat, and then the future crop will be soybeans. So we're trying to emulate what is happening out there in the farming communities. And one of these plots is a dryland plot, so it won't get planted up in winter. And one of them is being conventionally tilled. What do I mean by conventional tillage? Plowing, disking, and doing all of those sort of things to make a sort of clean soil. So let me go back to regenerative agriculture. There's 5 main principles that we're looking at. 2 of them, a lot of us are already doing in Fumfudza. So it's conservation agriculture, minimum tillage, mulch on the ground. We've got to keep the soil covered. And why is that? I'm sure many of you understand the reasons of infiltration, water infiltration, keeping the moisture in the soil, etc., etc. But it's also about microorganisms. What you must understand is that bare soil is hot soil. Anything over 30 degrees Celsius, you are cooking all the good guys in the soil. And we've got to focus on the good guys, because there's hobos. They reckon in 1 teaspoon of healthy soil, there's more microorganisms than the people on earth. And I think we just pipped the 8 billion mark. It's incomprehensible. It's amazing. Microorganisms, they're micro because you need a microscope to see them. We don't see them with our bare eyes. So the 2 main principles of the foundations is the Fumfudza conservation agriculture minimum tillage. The next one is bringing in biodiversity, which is what the cover crops are all about. The 4th one is living roots in the soil for as long as possible. Because why? They're producing root exudates. The sugars that they manufacture from photosynthesis gets pushed out through the roots to feed the microorganisms. So the 5th one is incorporating livestock, which is what has been happening here. What you don't see here in this mixture is that the first planting that was done early December has now been eaten by the mombies. They've split the herd. Half is brought here, half is left on the veldt. And then what's happened is that this is a new planting that's come in on the 20th of February. That's why it's looking a little bit short. But if you've been to our previous field days, they're often like over 1 meter tall, the mixture, with no fertilizer, and they're growing so strong. So what Art Farm is doing is that we are measuring the soil, particularly the organic matter. And that's what I want to emphasize with you today. Don't ignore organic matter in the soil. How do you know you've got good soil, good healthy soil and organic matter? Check for earthworms, check the color of the soil, and smell the soil.